Well, let's see. So one of my best friends lived in the same house basically as David did for about 2 years. She lived in the front part of the house with a bunch of girls, and David and his bandmates lived in the back part of the house. And my friend Jess would always tell me about, oh, you gotta meet the guys in the back. They're these like really great guys. You gotta meet them. And I was out of this bad relationship and I did not want to meet anybody. And then about 2 years into that, my girlfriend was hosting a party. She said, well, the guys in the back always let us take their chairs and their fire pit whenever we have a party. So we went in their backyard and took a bunch of their stuff and set up a party with their stuff in the front yard. And then David and all of his bandmates were coming home from a gig, and...
Sure, so we noticed that they had borrowed all of our stuff. And they said, well, since, you know, we have all your stuff, why don't you join us?
Yeah.
And so we went inside, dropped off all of our stuff, and then I came back and noticed this one. And I saw her sitting in a chair, and I sat next to her.
Yes. He asked me if I like music, which
that was my opener.
That was his opening. He's like, hey, you like music?
Which, you know,
like, well, yeah, most people do.
Most people do. But it's a good start.
It's a good start.
Because, you know, if you're gonna date a musician, you gotta like music.
This is true, which I did.
So, you know, right off the bat.
Yeah. So as I remember it, you walked in and introduced yourself, and I thought you were very, very handsome.
I thought you were very beautiful.
And then you sat down next to me.
Yeah, it was fun because you had a scarf in your hair.
I had a scarf in my hair.
And at the time, my hair was longer than yours was.
Yes, that's true too.
And then we chatted for a long time.
And then my friend got up and came over and was like, oh, remember how you said you would take me home early? And she like made us leave, and I was a little bummed about that. So I asked David for his card so I could hear his music. But I was in the middle of my master's program in finals, and so I put the card in a drawer and I didn't call him for like a month.
So I assumed she didn't like me.
I did. I liked him a lot. I just needed to concentrate on finals. So, and then a month later, my friend, the same friend, Jess, organized this big camping trip for us to go camping and celebrate me graduating from school, and invited David. And
which was odd because she was my neighbor and never really invited me to anything socially.
Yeah.
So she was like, do you want to go camping? And I was like, whoa, like who's gonna be there? And she was like, do you mean is Mia gonna be there? And I was like, well, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, yeah, it sounds fun. And so it was funny because she was like, oh, you don't have to bring anything. I'm not really much of a camper.
So this one shows up camping with all of us without a tent. A little presumptuous.
She said I'd be taken care of.
Yeah, which you were. And I don't know, we've been together ever since.
I really liked that Mia was kind of her own person. She was very authentic. She had a very unique thing, a very unique style. And the one, this is a weird example maybe, but for me, the thing that made me be like, oh, can I swear? Oh shit, was we were playing a show one night, and she came by herself, and you know, I was at the time the lead singer of this rock band, and I had a lot of people to talk to after the show, and a lot of them were girls. And every time I looked over, she would just be like, oh, I'm fine, like, do your thing. And she was just like hanging out, checking out her phone or whatever. And I was like, damn, like she's confident and she's okay with me doing this and is not threatened. And then, you know.
Yeah, because I knew he was coming home with me, so it's all good.
That was, for me, I mean, that's kind of an odd thing, but for me, that was very special.
I think for me is that I've always been kind of like a salmon person. Like I've always wanted to kind of swim upstream and not really be, I've never had a 9-to-5 job, neither has David, and I wanted to find somebody who was a fellow salmon. So we both have kind of carved out this kind of life that we wanted together. I was never really interested in dating somebody who just kind of went by the book, which you didn't do. So that was my thing. Beginning, especially.
Yeah, we've always had our own timeline.
Still do. I have it in my brain the moment that we first met and like shook hands, and it was definitely your eyes. David has this amazing eye contact that he just makes you feel like you're being, well, you can be creepy about it too, I guess. But yeah, it was just your eyes, absolutely, the way you looked at me. Yeah.
For me, I don't know. It was almost that like. That Baz Luhrmann, like everything stopped kind of thing when I saw her, and it was just like,
yeah, the whole love at first sight thing feels very like it felt like that.
Yeah.
very like, oh, you're someone special. This is something like right in that little frozen moment for sure.
Yeah.
So, we like to make people like gag when we talk about it. So
We used to bring around little barf bags.